Fun fact, mullets are not admissible as evidence.
But they should be.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Forensic Fails, Season 1, Episode 3, The House That Roared.
Don't forget, if you're enjoying this podcast, and you should be sure to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a 5-star review and tell a friend or two. It'll not only ensure that you don't miss an episode, but it'll also help ensure that others will find our show too.
And as we get started, we're going to be adding a Patreon feature. More details to come, but there will be things like our hilarious pre-pod pod, bonus episodes, early and ad-free access, and much, much more. So stay tuned.
Yeah, you're really going to want to get in on that because the pre-pod pod is a lot of fun. So just a quick note. You may have noticed that we skipped Season 1, Episode 2, The Magic Bullet. This wasn't a mistake, but by choice. As we said in our first episode, true crime can be a difficult genre sometimes. This was just a very dark, very tragic episode involving an accidental gun death of a 15-year-old boy. After watching it and much discussion, we just didn't feel there was any way to responsibly cover that episode.
While it was our intention to cover every episode of the series, we may, from time to time, come across an episode that we just don't feel we can cover responsibly and respectfully. For more information and resources related to prevention of accidental gun deaths in children, please visit projectchildsafe.org.
All right, so Forensic Files, Season 1, Episode 3, The House That Roared. It is the story of Caren Campano, who was 42 years old. She died on July 1st, 1993 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This episode aired October 10th, 1996. So our show opens with some on-screen text letting us know that we are in Oklahoma City on July 1st, 1992. And we are treated to another award-winning reenactment in black and white. And maybe Forensic Files uses the black and white to let us know that this is a reenactment.
Because, right, it's in the past.
Right. Maybe they feel we're not intelligent enough to figure that out on our own. I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper. But it's basically two people screaming at each other. Our host and narrator, and at this point I should know his name, it's Peter, right?
Peter Thomas.
Peter Thomas.
Yes.
He lets us know that their neighbors are not unaware of this lovely dynamic that the couple has. Also, I would like to point out that this acting in the reenactment needs a little work because it basically sounds like we have two teenagers trying to out-scream each other.
Yeah, and I was actually wondering what the title of this episode meant, The House That Roared. I was thinking at this point it was because of the couple's constant fighting, but I don't think that's the reason why by the end. But anyway, my God, though, it must have been horrible living next to these two since they described it as, quote, the familiar sounds.
I would bet that they are not invited to any block parties.
Absolutely not. And there clearly was no HOA.
No. Also, I am 99.9% sure that the male yeller in this reenactment, who is seated while the woman is frantically pacing around screaming, has a mullet and more than likely has a Tasmanian Devil bumper sticker on his truck that says, "Back off." Also, he is wearing an unbuttoned white vest, which I assume is denim, and no shirt. So my initial thoughts about him are right where they should be.
So I saw that, and it was a little bit hard to see because it was black and white. I had to pause it several times, but I was like, is he rocking just a vest and no shirt? I mean, honestly, it's a great look. Plus the mullet. Do you think I could pull that look off? Like, I can pop my shirt off and grab a vest if you like.
You might want to hop into a time machine so we can go back to 1992 Oklahoma for that look to work.
Okay. I would have just graduated high school at the time. So
Okay.
I could have graduated and flown out to Oklahoma.
Yes. Well, shirtless mullet wonder is actually Christopher Campano. He is husband to Caren and apparently a mullet king. And he claims that after their argument, his wife stormed out of the house and, quote, was never seen again.
So it struck me that the last name was Campano. So I'm assuming that he was of Italian-American descent.
Mm-hmm.
We are both of Italian-American descent.
Mm-hmm.
This also took place in Oklahoma, which I never thought of as having a lot of Italians. And indeed, I used a Google machine and did some research. So you're
What'd you
usually the
learn?
researcher, but I did research and learned based upon data regarding Italian-American statistics from the time, approximately only 1.4% of the population in Oklahoma was of Italian descent.
Oh.
The more you know.
More you know. Welcome to episode 3, kids.
Yep.
Buckle up.
Oh, yes.
So, our girl Caren, she was 2 weeks from her 43rd birthday when she disappeared. And we get some on-screen pictures of her in her life. She's cute. She's adorable. She's smiling. My guess is that more than once in her life, she was probably described as perky. Something this girl has never been described as, and I'm okay with it.
Wait, doesn't your
Also
shirt say you're perky or something? Or no?
No.
Oh.
That would probably be the last word people would use to describe me. Also, in these pictures, lots of big 80s hair is being represented, and I'm kind of loving it. Caren also has 3 children who live in New York. They didn't say where in New York, just New York. And now, of course, I'm wondering, why don't they live with her? And hopefully Peter can clue us in on this at some point.
Yeah, I was wondering that exact same thing, and so far away too. Like
Right,
Long
it's
Island
not
to
like,
Oklahoma. I mean,
neighboring towns or anything
no.
like that.
And just culturally
But we
so
do-
different too.
Yeah, and it's odd too, especially at that point in time that the mother doesn't have custody.
100%. Yeah.
You know, because normally, unless you're watching Kramer versus Kramer, the mom usually has custody of the child. So of course, I start wondering a million different things. But
Totally. I felt sad watching that part.
yeah. But anyway, we learned that Mullet Man is hubby number 3. And we get some on-screen interview time with him in present day time. And let me tell you, Brian, he looks like a gem.
A true gem.
Yes. We learned that they were married in 1987. And their friends claim they were an odd couple. And isn't that just a ringing endorsement for love?
Mm-hmm.
So Caren is 15 years older than Mullet Man, which means that when they got married, he was 27 when she disappeared in 1992 and was 22 when they got married. She was 37 on her 3rd wedding day, and yes, I used a calculator to figure that out. It was his first marriage, her 3rd, and they met through Karen's best friend, Mullet Man's mother.
Yeah, so Karen's best friend was Chris's mother.
That's correct.
He was 15 years her junior.
Yes.
The whole thing felt kind of ick to me.
Oh, totally. And I can only imagine the very weird turn that girls' night took once Caren and the mullet started hooking up.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, where'd you find a catch like that?
He was described as a, quote, drifter who spent time in jail for petty theft. Interesting to know, as we are being told about his career choices in life, we are treated to footage of him walking down a very strange-looking industrial hallway painted blue and white, and he's wearing one of those denim jackets with the furry linings. He also looks pissed off at the world. But, I guess the heart wants what the heart wants, Brian.
Yes, I have some notes and some queries here. Thing 1. Quote, Chris was a drifter and spent some time in jail for petty theft. Kristin, you tell me, is there something I'm missing here as to why this guy was such a catch? I mean, he does have a glorious mullet. I will give you that. But am I missing something?
I have no answers.
Okay.
I've got nothing
Yeah.
because the you know, I'm not a snob when it comes to careers, but petty theft is kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah, and Drifter, like,
Yeah, Drifter doesn't exactly, yell stability.
no, and not like Drifter in like a kind of a eclectic sort of, like traveling the world sort of
For
thing, or
fun.
musician, artist,
Right.
no, like, all right. Thing two, the whole hallway scene had me so friggin' confused. Okay. So, I mean, it sort of looked like he was in jail, but he
Hmm.
was in acid wash street clothes. So at this point, I don't know what to think. Side note, my prepubescent self thought I was hot shit in my acid wash. Hot shit. Did you have acid wash?
I'm wondering if the prison uniforms in Oklahoma are just a little bit more laxed.
Yeah, like I don't
Maybe
know.
it's
They
just
just
like a
like,
come as you are kind of a situation. I don't know.
yeah. I just thought that was whole. Were you confused too? Like I was
I
just
was
really
very
confused. Okay,
confused.
okay,
Yeah, it took a while for it to register what was actually happening.
yeah,
So yeah, that kind of threw me too. Maybe they let him dress up for the interview, and that was his outfit of choice.
yeah. I need acid wash. Stat. Get thee to a Walmart.
So we learn a little bit more about Caren. Caren worked for a credit adjustment company as a bill collector and was the main source of income in their cozy relationship. And we are treated to a shot of her place of employment. It is literally a building that has a sign on the roof that says Credit Adjustment Agency.
Yeah, like it's
I
like a
don't
cartoon.
know what I
Bank.
expected, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, bank, grocery store.
Also, we learn that Chris uses drugs. No judgment here. Not that I have used drugs, but no judgment. Everybody's got their issues. And what I assume to be in our present 1996 day interview, he claims she was nagging him to go to rehab, to which I say the flat out gall of her wanting her husband to live a life free of drugs and crime. How dare
And
she?
I mean, seriously, my God, I don't bring out the garbage enough. I leave dirty dishes in the sink. Wants me to go to rehab.
That comment was brought to you by sarcasm. So unlike our last episode, we actually get an interview with one of Karen's friends and neighbors, which I kind of like because it helps push the narrative along.
Yeah.
And it brings a more personal aspect. And as this woman is talking, I am sitting here praying to myself, dear God, please let them say she lit up a room. Which is also something that will most likely never be said about me. And again, I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah, because honestly, anyone who lights up a room is not going to end up in a good place, as we know from Keith Morrison.
No.
Yeah.
So Michelle, the neighbor, she lets us know that she heard yelling from the house, and she basically supports my earlier comment that these two just basically seem to try to outscream each other, to which I thought, oh, the maturity of it all. So Chris claims that Caren stormed out during the fight and decided to take some time for some retail therapy. Her destination? The Buy for Less convenience store, which is now on one of my places I want to visit if I'm ever in Oklahoma, because I have some strange obsession with small town stores like that. Right?
Yeah.
I love places where I can get a cup of coffee, a bottle of Windex, some beef jerky, and a back scratcher, all while gassing up the V-dub.
Yep.
And upon checking into this further, it seems Buy for Less is more of a grocery store and less of a Wawa. So I was kind of disappointed. But it does have a good Mexican food counter, and I'm willing to travel for a good taco.
So we see the Buy for Less.
Yes.
And Buy for Less has dollar signs for the S's. And honestly, that is one of my hot take. I actually hate when stores get cute like that.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
They put a Z at the end of a word instead of an S. Or if it's something relating to kids, they'll put the S backwards. Like, didn't Toys R Us do that?
Toys R Us did that, yeah.
Just stop it. Like, I don't know. Just stop trying to be so cute. You too, Kesha. You don't have a dollar sign in your name. Just it's an S, okay? I can't pronounce a dollar sign.
The only time I'm okay with it is in the opening credits for Schitt's Creek.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Because it was, I mean, the whole show is about the loss of money. So I'm okay with that.
And also R.I.P. Catherine O'Hara, who we recently lost. Yeah.
I was so sad by that.
Horrible.
She was just.
Yeah.
We need an episode dedicated to her.
All right. That could be a bonus ep.
So Caren decides to go shop. Chris, on the other hand, hits up the local bar to drown his sorrows. The next day, he calls her office to see if she reported to work. To which I thought, well, that's kind of strange, dude. You don't know if your wife actually left the house to go to work? I mean, my husband would make enough noise stomping through our house in the morning that the saber-toothed tigers in the La Brea tar pits would have been roused. But okay, whatever. He's a concerned husband. Good for Chris. Spoiler, she didn't report to work.
No.
So our worried, responsible husband of the year, Chris, immediately calls the police and sounds the alarm that his wife is missing, which is a complete turnaround from Dick in episode 1, who told the world Hella was in Denmark and then sunning it up on a beach with her lady friends.
Yes.
So the police show up right away. And again, this is 5 years or so after the first episode. So times have changed and missing people are now a more serious consideration. They speak with hubby and they decide that from what they can see, things seem, quote, normal. I, quote, see a house that's a total mess, but who am I to judge? Because it takes me a month of Mondays to do my laundry.
So we are constantly doing laundry in this house, but it does take a while to actually fold and put said laundry away. So we tend to have laundry baskets
everywhere.
We tend to have laundry baskets all over the place. And my solution really is just to buy new laundry baskets. Like if I'm in any store and I happen to pass a laundry basket, I will buy it up. Like I was in Aldi and they had laundry baskets and I'm like, in the, the aisle of like random shit.
Oh, I love that aisle.
Yeah. Laundry baskets. There we go. So I have to say too, the Real House, did you notice the Real House looks nothing at all like the reenactment house?
I did.
Like at all. The reenactment house was smaller and had an attached carport or garage next to it. Like somebody went scouting houses and said, good enough.
It'll do. Yeah. The house, yeah. Sometimes I wonder. There's a lot of wonder when it comes to these reenactments. But
yeah, it's wild.
That's part of the fun.
It is. It really is. It's part of the charm.
So we meet Officer Johnny Coleman, who lets us know that if someone is going to leave, they will usually take their personal items, especially when you are dealing with a woman. They'll take their toiletries and their medications because, as a woman, if I am that pissed off after a fight and I decide to storm off, the first thing I'm going to do is pack a bag and make sure I have my dental floss and deodorant, which, by the way, if she was shopping at Buy for Less, she totally could have just picked them up there.
Totally. And she could have picked it up for less. I actually need it too. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the women here and just like the misogyny actually of this guy really like hit me. Okay. I want to stop on that line. I actually had to write down the full line. Quote, if a person is going to run away or leave her husband, she's not just going to walk away and leave everything behind. She's going to take the things that mean the most to her, especially when you're dealing with a woman. Things of, toiletries, makeup, and that kind of thing. Really? I mean, I get it that she probably didn't run away, but you're basing that on the fact that she left her Mary Kay in the bathroom?
Right. Like, if you have an argument and you leave the house because you need some, breathing room, I'm not packing a bag. I'm getting in my car and going or walking to the Buy for Less. I'm not, thinking this whole thing out. The way Chris described it, they had an argument and they both needed a timeout.
I'm sorry, Kristin. You ladies can't go anywhere without your blush, mascara, and a jar of cold cream.
Oh, God. Well, I'm a major disappointment to womanhood. So, but I would like to say, in the end, I do like Officer Johnny.
Yes, he's fine. That line though,
That
honestly,
line
like
really did irk me,
it
but he
irked
does
me
redeem
big time.
himself later on.
He does.
So, ironically, while Karen was thought to be indulging in some serious retail therapy, and Chris was holding court like Norm at Cheers, their house was robbed, or so the mullet claims.
Yeah.
So, let me just get this straight for our listeners and for you and I.
Yes.
You have a fight with your wife.
Correct.
You go to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
You come home from the bar.
Yes.
You don't see your wife.
Nope.
You notice that somebody broke into your house. You notice you've been robbed. And then you decide, I'm just going to call it a night and get some shut-eye. I mean, I'm the kind of
normal
person,
to me.
If there's a mug in my sink, I can't go to bed. But you do you, boo.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, you know how much I enjoy pausing when I see paperwork. See like what I could read. And again, second episode in a row, there's an address on the police paperwork that they flash up on the screen. So of course I had to look it up. So Kristin, I have a link if you want to access it. It is the Zillow.
Oh my God, it's adorable.
Right? It is a cute little house. Again, looks absolutely, it's a cute like kind of bungalow.
Let's go live there.
So, right, it's a cute little house, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, described as, I'm going to read the listing for you. Mm-hmm. Adorable remodeled bungalow in historical Crestwood Heights.
Hopefully remodeled after what happened.
Yeah. Newer tilt-in windows throughout.
Nice.
The kitchen comes complete with a refrigerator, range, dishwasher, and microwave. The laundry room has lots of storage cabinets and is complete with a washer and dryer. Updated bathroom, office nook/work area near the kitchen. Great for you hybrid or remote employees. Mm-hmm. I added that part. Detached garage. See, detached garage. Detached. See? It is not attached. It is not a carport. Thank you. Sorry. Just like, it really pissed me off.
Just really like stuck in your head.
Yeah, it really just bothered me. With additional storage room attached to the rest of the garage. The Zestimate, $163,000. Like, my God, we would live like a king and queen in Oklahoma City. You can't get anything for that price in New Jersey. Not even in the worst neighborhoods. Not even a condo.
Like a storage unit.
Right? It's ridiculous.
And you know what? Funny you should say that, because I was thinking the exact same thing about the Craft House in episode 1.
Yes.
Like, you've got this beautiful 4-bedroom, 4-bath house in Connecticut for under $700,000.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking we are obviously living in the very wrong state when it comes to real estate. If you're a buyer.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I was surprised by the Connecticut thing. I don't know. That surprised me. I mean, Oklahoma, a city, I would have assumed the prices would be lower, but like, that's really low. And it's a cute house.
It really is cute.
Yeah.
So Chris, in an obvious effort to find his beloved, allows the police to search the house. So he invites them in to do a look-see.
Yeah.
And next to the bed, they find a large white garbage bag that is on top of a large, quote, brownish colored stain.
Not a good sign.
Ew. So what do? They run for the Hemastix. And Johnny, Officer Johnny, who I like, by the way, gives us a very quick how-to on how Hemastix work, which the non-science me found very helpful. And we are told that the icky stain on the rug is blood. But was it human? The audience is asked by Peter. And it's like we already know the answer to this one.
Did you say Hemastix, Kristin?
I sure did.
You know what that sound means, kids. Don those lab coats, strap on some goggles. We're heading into the forensics lab. Yeah, let's walk on in. So as Kristin mentioned, the first tool they reached for was a hemostick, okay? So we talked about blood on the last episode. Let's talk about blood a little bit more. So Hemastix is really interesting. So this is a small disposable test strip. It's deceptively simple but really powerful. It kind of reminds me of a litmus strip that
Yes.
changes color in the presence of an acid or a base.
Mm-hmm.
So Hemastix changes color based on the presence of blood, even dried blood. So how? So again, blood contains heme, which is the iron-rich part of hemoglobin in red blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
The iron, as we know from the last episode, right, acts as a catalyst in a chemical reaction, okay? So Hemastix are coated with a chromogen. Now, a chromogen isn't a specific chemical, but it refers to a class of chemicals, okay? So now when a sample of stain touches the stick, and a drop of distilled water is added, the iron in the heme speeds up or catalyzes a chemical reaction with the chromogen, producing a green color. That color change indicates the presence of blood. So like chromo color, right? So in the Campano house, the Hemastix turned green almost immediately, telling investigators this wasn't just a coffee spill or stain from rust, it was blood. And while the Hemastix can't prove the blood is human, it gives a fast, on-the-spot clue that a violent crime may have occurred. So after the Hemastix told investigators the carpet stain was blood, the next question was it human? So now, not all blood is the same. Dogs, cats, even rodents, like squirrels.
Like squirrels.
For you Patreon listeners. Or other contaminants obviously can leave stains. Misidentifying that blood could send an investigation in the wrong direction. So that's where the forensics lab used something called the Octoloni test, okay, which is sometimes called a species determination test. So here's the science behind it. So we know that blood contains hemoglobin, right? Again, that's the protein that carries oxygen inside red blood cells. Different species have hemoglobin, but hemoglobin isn't exactly the same in every species. So humans, dogs, and cats all have slightly different amino acid sequences in hemoglobin, all right? And amino acids are like the building blocks of proteins. So other proteins like albumins and enzymes are also unique to each species. So the Octoloni test looks at those differences. So in the lab, a sample of the stain is prepared and exposed to special antibodies designed to bind only to human proteins. Again, with antibodies and antigens, which are what antibodies react to, it's a lock and key. The antigens, in this case the blood protein, are the keys. The antibodies are the locks. If the blood is human, the antigen and the antibody binds, and the reaction produces a signal, like a color change or a visible band on a test medium. The locks and keys fit. If it's not human, there's no reaction because the keys don't fit, right? So what's so cool about this is that even small traces of blood or partially clean stains can be identified because the proteins themselves are more resilient than the red pigment of blood, right? So in the Campano house, the stain tested positive for human blood. That meant a person had been injured there. No accidental spill, no pet mess. Now, we don't know that anyone was murdered or that this was Caren. All that we know is that a human bled. That said, this crucial step allowed investigators to move on to DNA testing, eventually confirming that the blood belonged to Caren Campano. But a single stain obviously only tells part of the story. Detectives needed to map the whole house, especially because perpetrators often try to clean up. So this is when they turn to luminol, which you hear a lot about, right? So we're going to talk about luminol a lot on the show. So I'm going to save the deep dive on luminol for a future episode. But needless to say, luminol produces a faint blue glow in the presence of even the smallest traces of blood. The glow is very faint, which is why investigators actually have to perform the test in complete darkness, right? So the results were shocking. Like, luminol showed trails of blood everywhere, the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Investigators could see the path of the attack, cast-off pattern from multiple swings of a blunt object, smears on doorways with a body being, like, carelessly carried. Drag marks down the back stairs indicated where the human had been moved. Every glowing trail told a story and allowed detectives to reconstruct the sequence of events before a body was even found. And I think that's why the episode was called The House That Roared, right? It wasn't just the yelling in the beginning. the evidence in this case was just so loud that it roared.
Yeah, when they showed some of the footage of those scenes, it was shocking. Literally shocking. You know, like when Johnny's describing how Officer Johnny, when he's describing like all the blood trails and everything like that, it actually like made my stomach turn.
It's terrible.
Also, I want to take a moment to acknowledge Officer Johnny's mustache.
It's great.
That thing is tight and right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
With nary a hair out of place. That thing could have given Tom Selleck a run for its money in 1982.
That's a bold statement.
So Johnny and his super stash, it is. Because we all know Tom Selleck was like the reigning king of mustaches. But this thing is perfection. So Johnny and his super stash let us know that there is so much blood on the carpet by the bed that it has literally soaked through to the pad, and now that there's actual moisture involved. Double ew.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like watching this and I'm thinking to myself, Mullet, you didn't notice the massive blood stain on your bedroom carpet? I mean, you know, maybe you could have called Dick for a quick lesson in carpet cleanup before you called the cops, but apparently not. So the police remove the blood-stained carpet, as you do, and it's brought to the lab to run some tests to see if it's human or animal, which seems like it could have been figured out with a quick question like, hey, by the way, did you or your wife suffer some massive blood loss in here, or did you manage to, I don't know, shoot a bear and forget to tell us? Maybe that's just me and my logical brain at work. I don't know. So we meet Joyce Gilchrist, who is the lady running the lab. And you can tell straight up, she is a no-nonsense Melinda Warner from SVU type of woman, right? I like her right off the bat. She performs that, and I know I'm going to butcher it, the test that you talked about to determine if the blood is human or animal. Yeah. That's it. And big surprise, it's human. And that is all our boy Johnny needs to move forward with the case. You go, Johnny Coleman.
You go.
So the police dive in and start combing through the Campano house. And when they said that, all I could think of was Spaceballs. And I was praying we were going to see police dragging giant combs across the living room carpet. We are not treated to that. Also, please take the time today, or sometime this weekend, and go watch Spaceballs again because it's still awesome.
May the shorts be with you.
And the police immediately, I love it. I
So
do,
good.
and I can't wait for Spaceballs too. They immediately believe two things. One, the police believe the blood is Karen's. And two, they believe Chris knows more than he is letting on, which led me to say, duh. So Chris is brought in for questions, and we get to see the police footage of this. And our man is rocking a white t-shirt, mullet, mustache combo. He is sitting with his arms crossed, looking pissed off at the world. And I would just like to say, Chris, this is not your best look at the moment. You're being brought in to be questioned about your missing wife. I mean, you know, you might want to look a little more cooperative, but no.
The only thing that would have made that look even more classic would be if he swapped out the white t-shirt for a mesh shirt.
Oh, yes.
Right? They were big too.
They were.
Yep.
They probably still are in some areas of the world. We learned that the bartender from the bar Chris visited that night has zero recollection of the mullet man hanging out. In all fairness, I can understand that. Bars are busy places.
Sure.
Lots of people are coming and going. I work on a floor in school. I have worked with the same 12 people on that floor every day for 4 years. And there are some days it's 2:00 and I've just noticed that somebody's absent that day. So I can understand not remembering a bar patron that night. And, also I'd like to note, Chris also pawned some of Karen's jewelry the day she went, quote, missing at 10:43 a.m. that morning.
Yeah.
Stay stupid.
Like, didn't even wait.
No, nothing weird to see here, people. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Let's just move along. So we have blood, but we have no body. So they continue running tests inside the home, hoping to find more evidence. And we meet Dr. Fred Johnson, ME, who is also wearing the same aviator eyeglasses like our ME from the previous episode.
Maybe do they give that to you when you get your Emmy certificate? Maybe
Maybe
that
I'm
was part of the
wondering. It's like,
uniform.
here's your degree, here's your serial killer glasses.
Yeah.
Go forth and do good things. His were not tinted, by the way.
Okay, maybe you have to maybe with a certain level of seniority, they add the tint.
Maybe. So Fred lets us know that nothing seemed out of the ordinary, which I took to mean that there were no weird marks on the wall, no ripped up furniture, no Dahmer fridge in the garage. So, to help them out, they bring in the big guns, luminol.
Yeah.
We all know Brian loves luminol.
Oh, so great.
And Joyce breaks down how the luminol works, which again, I loved because non-science girl, I'm learning something new. She explains how luminol works and how the police wait for the darkness so that they could cloak the house and begin their, quote, chemical dragnet in the bedroom. Sidebar, I have never participated in a chemical dragnet. It sounds like a good time, though.
It does. It does. Sounds like a rave or something.
Right?
Chemical Dragnet. Actually,
Where you
good
going?
band.
Chemical dragnet.
That'd be a
I'm
good
going to wear
band
my
name.
mesh shirt.
That'd be a good band name, Chemical Dragnet.
That would be a good name for a band.
Right? Yeah.
Too bad we have zero musical talent.
No, well, yeah, that's true. I can sing a little bit, actually. Did you know?
Oh.
I took voice lessons, actually.
I play tambourine, but I'm self-taught.
All right, we have to. All right,
We have to work on that.
we gotta. Yeah. All right.
So these guys are organized, right? They have a plan, and we are shown pictures of pre and post luminol baths, which makes me wonder if this is their first rodeo, and I'm guessing it's not. And Peter lets us know that the results were astonishing. They sure were forensic files because there was blood everywhere in the bedroom, literally everywhere. And that made me so upset because it showed that Caren or whoever must have suffered tremendously. I mean, allegedly, because according to her husband, she just went shopping.
Yeah.
The quote from the speaking head is, "It looks like a bloodbath had occurred in there, like something from a horror movie."
Mm.
And then there is the blood spatter. The location, the trails, and amount basically told the police that someone had been severely beaten. There were literally traces of blood all over the walls. And that was some serious, serious rage. Also, I love that one of the other police officers, Captain Tom Bevel, uses the phrase centrifugal force. I just love when that's just thrown out there because I don't think it's used enough. So the house is literally sprayed down with luminol, and it is all over the place as well as outside on the steps, and everything is lighting up blue. Johnny informs us, Officer Johnny, that there's also blood on the door going from the kitchen to the utility room at a level that implies that a body was most likely carried and came into contact with the wall. Or basically somebody of my height just happened to brush it with her head as she walked past. The ME calls it a very dramatic presentation. I say go big or go home.
Yeah.
So we've got ourselves we're in a bit of a pickle here, Brian.
A pickle.
The police have all this blood. They have all this blood evidence all over the house, but they have no body, and they have no real assurance if the blood is Karen's, even though we all know it is. So we, the viewers, are asked, was there enough blood to prove that someone is dead? To which I replied, hell yes. But what do I know? Again, not a scientist. So we get another reenactment, and it looks like two characters from the Book of Mormon sitting on the floor, pouring blood onto a carpet square. And it's basically the white shirt and tie that made me think of Book of Mormons. But why would you wear a white shirt when you're playing with blood? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and they were actually playing, like they used real human blood for this, which I thought was interesting because, I mean, I don't know, like I guess for accuracy, but it's just, I don't know.
Where are they getting it?
Where they get, right, I'm saying, like, I guess they're getting it from a blood bank, but like that just seems like there's always blood shortages, especially in the 80s.
Right.
I remember there's constantly blood shortages
Yes.
because that was the time with like during the height of the AIDS crisis, right?
Exactly. So you're gonna
Um,
use the real blood to, I
yeah,
mean, I don't know. Who am I to judge?
I just thought
I'm
that
me.
was
I
I
judge
thought that
everybody.
it was a fascinating detail to me.
It was. I found it fascinating too, actually. And their Book of Mormon outfits. So the amount of blood needed to recreate the stain that they found in the bedroom is the equivalent of 40% of blood from a woman of Karen's size. And Peter lets us know in his ominous tone, no one can survive that amount of blood loss. So it is determined that a homicide occurred in the bedroom. And I would like to thank Forensic Files for clearing all that up for me. There is no blood sample, though, that they can compare with Caren. So they bring in some of her family members to start their DNA and test it,
Mhm.
which is another one of Brian's favorite things.
Yeah, and we'll definitely do a deep dive on DNA testing in future episodes. But this was 1992, and it was a more primitive form of testing that required larger amounts of intact DNA as well as direct relatives for comparison. So apparently, the fact that the father had passed, so Karen's father had passed, actually made it difficult for the police department to use the DNA to be confirmatory.
Right. Right. Also, I would like to note, I think it is important for everyone to know that at this point, the FBI has now entered the chat. Hal Deadman, awesome name, by the way. He is our
Totally.
FBI go-to guy. And he goes on to explain how DNA works. Because in all fairness, this episode is taking place airs in 1996, and DNA in crimes is relatively new. 1996 me would be completely fascinated by all of this. 2026 me learned all this watching CSI. But we get to see the breakdown and the DNA samples, and it proves that 8 months after Caren went out to spend some cash after a fight with hubby, she is in fact dead. And that Chris did it based on the forensic evidence, the argument, the shady alibi, and the quick run to the pawn shop in the morning. Now, to me, this did not seem like concrete evidence. This seemed like a lot more circumstantial and coincidence. And I was very curious to see how a grand jury was going to accept this as a case. And maybe it's because I have spent the last 3 decades watching crime shows and
Yeah.
police procedure shows. And like, if something like this showed up on SVU, they'd be like, there's not enough concrete evidence. This is all circumstantial, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, in Oklahoma in 1992, I guess this was enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bar was different
Yeah.
back then
Different
too.
time.
You know, very much so. So what I noticed is that I don't know if you saw this, they had footage of Chris chained to a random prisoner, which I don't feel we see a lot of that. Like, it wasn't one of those things where you're outside doing service and like a chain gang sort of thing. It was just like walking through the court, chained to a random prisoner, or through the jail. I don't remember. But I thought they looked cute together.
Yeah,
Like,
they were a cute couple. I hope they
I
can
wouldn't
make
have.
it work.
I wouldn't have thought him her type though. But you know,
Different strokes. The heart wants what the heart wants.
exactly.
Kids, guess what? It's Oregon Trail graphics time.
Oh boy.
I know. So in today's graphic adventure, our Caren graphic looks like some strange action figure with muscular joints. And Chris reminds me of the WWF figures with the painted on clothes that my cousins had when we were little kids.
Yeah. And this is clearly, so this isn't the PD doing this little reenactment cartoon. This is clearly the show, because I noticed that the decor in the reenactment, in the cartoon, matches the decor from the live action reenactments, which, as we know, looks nothing like the real bedroom.
Right.
So they match the decor, but not the people, though, because both are wearing unitards.
Yes.
Chris is super buff, okay? And he's now a black man.
Yes.
Whereas the real Chris is definitely white.
This is true.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off.
If it pays off for him.
Seriously.
So the graphics even have faces. And they're not great because we're not working with a Pixar budget, which is
No.
probably why after our murder scene, we're back to our stars from the opening reenactment. And they just gave up on the Oregon Trail scene. So reenactment Chris wraps up reenactment Karen's body after hanging out at the bar till his neighbors go to bed, ties it up with a telephone wire, and drives off into the night. Sidebar. I always loved that song, Into the Night. And then I listened to the lyrics one day, and I was really kind of creeped out.
Okay, now I need to listen to the lyrics.
She's just 16 years old.
Oh,
We're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, there we go.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. It opens with that. But I just kind of glossed over it for most of my life. And then about 3 years ago, I'm driving and I came on in the car and I'm like, hold up.
Yeah.
What are we doing with a 16-year-old old man? So anyway, that was my sidebar.
Problematic.
He literally, in the reenactment, plops her dead body on the floor in the kitchen in the same manner that I drop my school bag on a chair when I come home from work.
That was just horrible how he drops the body.
It really was. And also, I would like to know he is still not wearing a shirt under that unbuttoned vest. He is just keeping it real classy. So he drives off to destination unknown, comes back, and cleans up the homestead. But dear listeners, keep in mind that while Fabuloso is great, and I have no idea if that's what he used, but that shit is awesome, it is no match for the Mighty Mighty Luminol. DNA proves it's Caren. The medical examiner says she suffered tremendous head injuries and trauma. And I did a little digging. She had 15 skull fractures and 3 broken ribs.
Horrible.
Absolutely horrible. Like, my stomach hurt reading that. And we still have no body. And we still have no weapon. But wait, Karma shows up. And just before the preliminary trial starts, quote, everything changes. Are you wondering why?
Yes, I am.
I'm going to tell you. They find her body. And we are back in my happy place with Officer Johnny and his magic mustache. And he tells and shows us that her body was found near a tree with blankets around it in an area that didn't have a lot of, quote, greenery, which made it easier to spot her. So had Chris chosen a more overgrown location, the body probably would have blended in with nature and they probably wouldn't have found her. I would just like to say once again, criminals of the world, please stay stupid.
Yeah, I had that same note. Like, no brush, no trees. Perfect spot to hide a dead body.
Bingo. And who discovers Caren? Kids on dirt bikes.
I feel like it's always poor youngsters finding shit like this.
Do they get, like, free therapy after finding these bodies? Because I think they deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get traumatized just seeing a dead animal on the road.
Can you imagine?
No. No. So they show us crime scene footage of them discovering the remains. And it's basically bones at this point. And in addition to her remains, there is a piece of a check with the body.
I mean, first of all, though, I have to say, like, we really did not need to see the remains. I really feel like that's just kind of disrespectful to her and the family. Like, it just was not a necessary detail that you needed to show.
That is actually something that truly does bother me and I am quite desensitized at this point to what I see on TV. But I always feel like when they show the actual footage of the victims, it's not necessary.
No, it wasn't. You know?
Also, what is it with the U.S. mail, crimes, and the durability of paper that was used pre-1999?
Less recycling. Maybe? Like, it was a thicker, like, right? I don't know.
That's
my theory. Yeah.
So, Mighty Mustachio John fills us in and tells us that the check is from the Shell Gas Company and came from New York, a state where Caren and her family have stakes in a gas station. And that, my friends, is the golden ticket. And now, all they need is dental confirmation. Brian, it's a triple crown for you. We've got
Exactly.
luminol, we've got DNA, we've got dental confirmation.
I loved me some dental records. And on
Who
top of that,
doesn't?
we also have a female detective who looks like Christy McNichol, who also played a cop on Empty Nest. Did you
I
notice
thought
her?
that too.
Did you think that, right?
I did. And
Totally.
I was also like, why are they waiting for like the last 5 minutes to bring this chick in?
I know. She
But they
wanted to
did.
distance herself from the makeup misogyny in the first half of the show.
So Dr. Doug Glass, he is our dental dude. He makes the confirmation. It's Caren. Chris is guilty. He confesses. But wait, there's more, because of course there is. Even though her murder was proven to be just that due to the severity and location of her bruises. His attorney tells us, quote, once I decided to make the leap and embrace the evidence, then my task became easier. It was then a matter of looking at psychological aspects of the case. So he basically decides to make the argument that if Chris had planned to murder his wife, he would have been smart enough, and that's debatable, to do it at a secondary location so that there would be less evidence in the home. Whatever, dude.
Okay. This attorney had the gall to utter the line, if it had been a cold-blooded killing, blah, blah, blah. I stopped listening to him. Like, are you kidding me? Look, I realize we need defense attorneys, okay? And defense attorneys need to defend their clients. And everyone is entitled to a fair defense. But
Absolutely.
just because it may not have been premeditated doesn't mean it wasn't cold-blooded. What
Thank
are you
you.
talking about?
Thank you. In the end,
that was just disgusting.
it was. And I, honest to God, was watching it, and I wanted to pull an Elvis and shoot out the TV at that moment. But luckily, I don't have guns in my house, and I really like my TV. So, at the end of the day, none of that mattered. He's found guilty of manslaughter, and he is sentenced to, drumroll please, 1,000 years.
1,000 years. Now, I realize
1,000 years.
I loved hearing that. Like, it wasn't just like X number of consecutive life sentences or whatever. 1,000 years.
1,000 years straight up.
I like, yeah. So now I realize how every state defines different types of killings varies. But it was interesting that this was a manslaughter to me, and a manslaughter with 1,000 years, which ensures that he will never be eligible for parole. But that's just not something that you hear a lot of.
No, I was actually wondering if that was the judge's way of saying fuck you to the defense for trying to put the manslaughter spin on it, in which I say, good for you, judge.
I think so. But I'm just used, if anything, like it just felt more, and again, I'm not a legal expert. I don't know the laws in every state. Like, if anything, I'm used to like this being more of a, not being premeditated, like a second degree kind of situation versus a manslaughter situation. But again, I know every state's different, but it was that was just very, that classification I found kind of intriguing.
So I did a little digging, as I do, and I found an article from the Oklahoman dated January 29th, 1994, just after the end of the trial. In a bizarre sequence of events, the jury foreman tried to withdraw from jury service after the punishment was declared unacceptable by District Judge Tom Smith. Jurors had tried to impose a life sentence without the chance for parole, and the judge ordered jurors to return a sentence that complied with state law. Judge Smith refused the foreman's request, and jurors returned shortly after with the sentence of 1,000 years imprisonment. Campano had 2 prior convictions for burglary and for concealing stolen property, and the minimum sentence jurors could have imposed was 20 years. The maximum would have been a life prison term. Defense attorney Burt Richards said Campano was satisfied that the jurors had agonized with the case. He expected the jury to recommend a harsh sentence, and he told them when he testified he was ready to accept what they gave out, according to his attorney. Campano's mother, the matchmaker, by the way, testified that her son had a stormy relationship with his wife and that the couple frequently argued. The slain woman was, quote, moody and prone to frequent outbursts of temper. P.S. and this is my PS, not the article. Chris feels sorry for her and feels bad for what he's done. Guess what? Guess who I don't feel sorry for? Caren Campano. Fuck that guy. Don't kill your wife.
Fuck that guy indeed.
Yes.
All right. Well,
that was exhausting.
That was exhausting. So it's that time of the show.
Yes.
Where we rate each episode on a scale of 1 to 10 DNA strands, based on the quality of the episode and the investigation. So I'm going to start this week. I'm going to give this episode 7 DNA strands. I don't know why actually I'm giving it 7 DNA strands, other than it felt like a 7. It felt like a 7 to me. I don't know. I didn't like it as much as the crafts episode. I did think it was interesting. I did think the science was interesting. The detective really irked me in the beginning, Johnny, with that thing with the makeup. I don't know why that really just irked me so much. And I also just didn't feel like some of the brutality of what the episode showed was really necessary, including showing the remains of the body. I actually think I'm taking points away from that. That was just such an unnecessary detail. But I mean, it was a good episode. It was an interesting case. I was a little also. I think also another thing too is some of the scenes that they showed with Chris in the beginning and him talking. It just had me so confused that it's I knew right away that he was guilty and in jail, and I like it to be, I think, a little bit more of a surprise, even if it's not really a surprise. It just kind of telegraphed it a little bit too much for my taste. So I am going to give it 7 DNA strands with a bonus mustache. Okay. That's fair.
So the bonus mustache is obviously for my boy Johnny, but I agree. It didn't leave a whole lot of wonder because, they're interviewing this guy in jail, Yeah. And what I did appreciate, though, was that they did not gloss over the testing.
Right.
Like they did in the first episode, and they explained it more. Yeah. So, for the casual viewer, that's helpful. Yeah. Because if you are not somebody who watches shows like this and they say we sprayed luminol, I'd be like, oh boy, what's luminol? Right. But they explained it. When they talk about Hemastix, they explained it. So I appreciated that. But again, like you said, this is network television. Yeah. Network television in 1996, and seeing, body remains during a primetime show just kind of hit wrong. And I felt it was incredibly disrespectful to the family. Yeah. I totally agree. And also too, actually, the one other thing I'm going to add, the title of the episode, I'm hypothesizing why it was called The House That Roared. But I actually would have liked if they explicitly closed the loop on it. They never used the word roar anywhere in the episode. No, not at all. Right? Yeah. So that was kind of thanks for that. Episode 1 was so straightforward. Literal, the disappearance of Hallie Crafts. Right. The house that roared. It was intriguing. I didn't know where it was going to go. I thought originally, does the case involve lions? Well, you would think circus animals, right? But if my theory was correct, that it was because of the overwhelming, forensic evidence with they Peter Thomas could have said the house roared with evidence or something to tie back to the title. It was just a bizarre title. I would just say going forward, Forensic Files, make it a little more, just stick to what it actually is. That's it for this episode of Forensic Files. Where the science was complicated, the narration was intense, and the reenactments somehow managed to raise even more questions. We'll be back next week.